Joseph Barbera was born to Italian immigrants in New York City in 1911. After working as a banker, he bounced around multiple animation studios, such as the Van Buren Studio and Terry Toons. But in 1930, Joseph went to work for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, or MGM Studios. William Hanna was born in 1910, Melrose, New Mexico. Also, working during the Great Depression, Hanna started at the Harman and Ising Animation Studio in 1930. He gained skill while working on cartoons such as Captain and the Kids, and in 1937, Hanna went to work for MGM Studios as well. William Hanna met Joseph Barbera, and they started working on a collaboration together. This collaboration would become one of the most iconic cartoons to ever display upon the screen, and it would leave an imprint on television for the foreseeable future. In 1940 was when Tom and Jerry first ever seen on screen on February 10th. The short film was called Puss Gets the Boot.
And when I says out, Jasper, I means out. O-U-W-T, out.
But after, they were advised by management not to produce any more shorts of the lovely cat and mouse. But luckily, when a Texas businesswoman named Bessa Short, she asked MGM whether or not the cat and mouse would be produced again. They had a studio contest to name the characters, and at this time, they were just Jasper the cat and Jinx the mouse. But John Carr suggested the names Tom and Jerry, and he was awarded $50. And with inflation, that comes out to about $1,000 today. And that's how Tom and Jerry were brought into existence. Hanna-Barbera produced 114 cartoons for MGM, and they won 70 Academy Awards for Best Short Subject, breaking the streak held by, you guessed it, Walt Disney Studios. You knew they were going to be brought up at some point, right? Tom and Jerry actually won more Academy Awards than any other character-based theatrical animated series. On May 15th, 1957, the final cartoon produced by Hanna-Barbera, Tot Watchers, was when MGM closed their cartoon studio, and Hanna-Barbera would go on to start their own production company. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. But that was not to be the end of Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry continued on, as we all obviously know, and we are all so lucky that it did. But put on your seatbelts, y'all, because it's about to get a little wild in here. MGM had Gene Dish continue the series when they brought it back in 1961 under Rembrandt Films. Then, Chuck Jones would produce another 34 episodes from 1963 to 1967 through Sib Tower's 12 productions. And in 1965 is when it actually hit television, and that was during the Chuck Jones era. It wasn't until 1975 that Tom and Jerry was taken back by Hanna-Barbera and was produced by Hanna-Barbera until 1977. Then in 1980, we got the Tom and Jerry comedy show, and that ran until 1982, which still kept the same short kind of feel that all the previous ones had. And then we got the third Hanna-Barbera era in 1990, when we were given Tom and Jerry Kids. I mean, just look at how cute Tom looks as a kitten. But just 2 years after Tom and Jerry Kids started, we got the very first Tom and Jerry full-length feature animation film in 1992. The screenplay was written by Dennis Marks, who also helped and scripted some of the episodes for Tom and Jerry Kids. Tom and Jerry, the movie, made its world premiere in Germany on October 1st, 1992. It wouldn't hit the US theatrically until July 30th, 1993. This film was a musical, and if you're like, why a musical? Well, let me just remind you about the short cartoons for just a second.
The way you acting lately makes me down. You will steal my baby, baby.
Tutti mi vogliono, buona ragazza, vecchio fanciulle, qua la parrucca, presto la barba, qua la sanguigna, presto biglietto.
When I'm with you, I'm what you call a hip cat. I am hip to the jive. I'm in the groove, darling.
Now you're really sending me, Jackson.
I rest my case. But yeah, it was a musical, and it's not a secret that I enjoy musicals. The film started off with Tom and Jerry having their home destroyed, and they had to learn to be together out on the streets. Then we meet the lead, Robin Starling. Tom and Jerry team up to help her escape from her evil Aunt Pristine Fig, and they go out to find her presumably dead father. It's a sweet, cute family film that really anyone can follow and enjoy. The film was directed and produced by Phil Roman. You might recognize the name because in his early years he worked on a bunch of made-for-TV Peanut TV specials and Peanut films, like A Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving, Be My Valentine Charlie Brown, and It's an Easter Beagle Charlie Brown. And he also did lots of the Garfield specials too. And again, the screenplay was by Dennis Marks. Dennis also did screenplays for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends in 1981, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1990, and even Batman the Animated Series. I don't know about you, but this seems like an excellent recipe for a masterpiece. So, why did the film do so poorly critically, and somewhat financially? Well, that's what I'm here to find out, so let's dive in. The main things I want to look at are animation, the music, advertisement, the voice cast / actors, and the official release. The film has a strong animation team for Tom and Jerry the movie. For example, Stephen Eric Gordon, who did animation on X-Men Evolutions, and Dan Haskett, who designed Belle and Ariel for Disney during the Disney Renaissance. Dan even went to animate on the newest Space Jam in 2021. The film combined 2D hand-drawn animation, a lost art, with the vehicles being a small part CGI, like Aunt Fig's convertible, Mr. Starling's helicopter, and Captain Kitty's boat, and it really works well together. I couldn't find any issues in the animation like I did with Quest for Camelot. If you're curious, I would go check out that video. I'll put a link in the description. Although I did see some missed opportunities. So let's take Aladdin for example. Aladdin came out in November of 1992, the year before Tom and Jerry would be released in the US. Let's look at Disney's attention to detail in their animation. During the song A Whole New World, the scenery is definitely stunning. That was the point of the scene, but if I pull a scene from Tom and Jerry the movie, you'll see that the scenery leaves, well, just a lot to be desired. Not only that, but if you look at Aladdin, the setting always seems to pop, and a lot of the Tom and Jerry we have looking at just is a little flat. Now, I will say that I think that this was partly intentional. The classic cartoons always had the same sort of feeling. I don't think the animation was bad, but I do think it, left a little bit to be desired. The music was composed by two relatively big names. Henry Mancini composed the music for each individual song, including the score, and Leslie Racuse wrote the lyrics. They had just finished working on another musical together that was called Victor/Victoria, which won an Academy Award for the Best Original Score and its adaptation. They decided to make the film a musical, witnessing the successful start Disney was having with the musical Disney Renaissance. The film had 16 songs. The songs sang that were used to progress the story forward were Friends to the End,
Here we go. We two, we're friends to the end. Ain't we, my friend? We kind of blend together.
What Do We Care,
What do we care? What do we care?
Beautiful Word,
Money and I, we are as happy as apple and pie. Haven't you heard? Money is such a beautiful word.
I Miss You, Robin's song,
Do I miss you? Count the stars, multiply by 10.
God's Little Creatures,
I love God's little creatures because the income's so darn big, 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 big.
and I've Done It All.
I've done it all.
Oh, you got caught.
I've done it all.
Have you got caught?
I played the Boondocks and I slayed Carnegie Hall.
The songs were fun, heartfelt, and, it's at times a little cheesy, but it's a family movie. As long as it's fun and catchy, I don't know what else we need. Henry Mancini worked on some great films composing their music and scores, such as the music for the Pink Panther series and The Great Mouse Detective. He also won 20 Grammy Awards, 4 Academy Awards, a Golden Globe Award, and was nominated for 2 Emmys. Leslie also won quite a few awards and worked on some great films. Working on films and musicals like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Hook, he also won 2 Academy Awards and 2 Grammy Awards. To me, this seems like a great choice by the creators for Tom and Jerry the movie. Picking these two was a solid choice for the music to this musical. Now I looked into how the film was advertised, and well, here's what I found. They definitely had quite a few toys made. Everything from Bend-Ems to plushes to tiny minifigures. They even had a video game that was developed by Sega, which it had 2 different versions. The master version, where Tom chases Jerry through the house and country to finally catch him, and then the Gamer Gear version, where Tom chases Jerry on a quest to look for treasure? It is clearly a video game for the movie, but has no relevance towards the movie and the games at all. And of course, promotional content for the VHS release as well.
With Family Home Entertainment's 12-piece counter display, a 24-piece floor display, a 48-piece floor display, a theatrical size poster, and a show-stopping inflatable standee. Additional features of the movie's marketing blitz have included a major sponsorship by the 5,500 restaurants of Dairy Queen. Specially packaged Dairy Queen kids meals offered 6 fun-filled toys based on characters from the movie.
This isn't necessarily what I would call good advertisement for the film, but also I don't think it's lacking too much. They really did the best they could for a family film in the 90s. So let's take a look at the voice cast, as always, and specifically the ones who voiced Tom and Jerry. It was quite a big deal having Tom and Jerry speaking in this movie.
You talked!
But more on that later. First, let's look at the slick moving and charming cat Tom. Tom was voiced by Richard Kind, who has actually done a lot of voice acting throughout his career. First, I'm going to bring up his part in A Bug's Life. Richard played Malt, Hopper's funny, clumsy brother.
That was amazing! How did they do that?
I think he played a great role in this classic Pixar animated film. He also had smaller roles in Cars and Toy Story 3. And who's your friend who likes to play?
Bing bong, bing bong!
Yep, Richard was also Bing Bong on Inside Out. Another is Clifford, which is an underrated movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Here. Look at me like a person. You can't do it for more than a few seconds. Look at me like a human boy.
He's had a huge filmography, but these were the ones that are the most commonly known to me. And of course we have the small, lovable, cunning mouse Jerry. Jerry was played by Donna Hill, and this was her last credited full-length film. Donna was Max in the iconic 90s show Goof Troop. Always stick together, we're the Goof Troop, best of friends forever. Okay, let's keep going. Anyway, she was Audrey Griswold in the National Lampoon's European Vacation. She did small voices in The Rugrats, the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Darkwing Duck, Mighty Mouse, Bobby's World. Basically, if you watched cartoons in the 90s, you definitely heard the voice from Donna Hill. And I know we would have heard her voice many, many more times, but unfortunately, Hill passed away at 32 in 1996 due to a stroke from a diabetic coma. I think she was an amazing voice actor. It's really unfortunate we didn't get to see more from her in the 2000s. And as I kept going through the list of voice actors, I found so much more than I even expected. Annie McAfee, who played Robin Starling in the film, also played Phoebe in Hey Arnold, Ashley A. in Recess, and Brittany Boviak from Lloyd in Space. Tony Jay, who plays the sleazy lawyer Lickboot, was also the evil Judge Claude Frollo in Hunchback of Notre Dame. And he also narrated in Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me. And he also narrated in Treasure Planet. Every voice actor in this movie had a huge impact on television and film in the 90s. These characters were all casted perfectly. If you look this movie up online, one of the first few things you'll come across is the Rotten Tomato reviews. They gave the film a 14% on the tomato meter. That's a seriously low score. The critic reviews are, well, just rough. and the film only made $100,000 over its budget. What did Phil Roman do to make people dislike this family film so much? Well, honestly, it didn't take me much to find the reason. Just one after another. Folks were not happy to hear Tom and Jerry talk. And this really wasn't the first time we hear them talk. We could hear them say small things in the shorts.
What's cooking, Toots?
Let me have it.
You want to get back in the house, don't you?
Yeah.
But not quite like this.
How come you never spoke before?
Well, there was nothing I wanted to say that I thought you'd understand.
Now, Disney had just released Hocus Pocus 2 weeks prior to Tom and Jerry the movie, and it was a financial success. This highly took a little bit of money and attention away from the film. It still made some money, but critics really just crushed it with their words. The animation was praised, and so was the musical score, but not enough to redeem the film. I always enjoyed this movie. I still even listen to the songs as an adult every once in a while, and I have revisited the film a few times as I've gotten older. Was the movie as bad as the critics made it out to be? Has nostalgia really blinded me to that extent? Well, trash heads, you have made it to the end yet again, and I'm absolutely overjoyed for your support. Let me know what you think of this movie. Do you like it? How do you feel about Tom and Jerry talking? Let me know in the comments. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We post regularly, and we even have a TikTok now. I'll put links in the description below. As always, this was so much fun, and I hope to see you here again next time on Trash TV.